behavior. All right, so this is how this is going to go, and you can follow me as I go along with this on your D2L instruction. So the first thing I want to do, I'm already on my home page here. I'm just going to go ahead and activate the shell. And one of the things that I often ask, most of you to do in the class is to run a couple of commands to see who is logged on, which is kind of really, generic. You can log this one on, and you will see that I'm the active users here, and this is pretty generic. You can also do something like see your current project, tell your project ID in case you need to. And I've spoken to you guys in the class that a service account in Google Cloud Platform can be for identity, and it also can be a resource because you can give another user ability to use a service account. So also there are two types of service account. There is a user managed service account, and there is also Google managed service account. I told you one of the easiest place to go to quickly see your service account. If you go under IAM and you go to service account here, you can easily view whatever service account that you have, going on. You can delete service account. If I feel like I don't need it anymore, I can just remove it. Take this one as well, clean it up. One of the best practice is to make sure you have a way of kind of managing your account so that when they're no longer useful, you can just, easily get rid of them. You can always tell what is an example of a Google managed service account because they will always have these GS, that's Google service account. See what I'm saying? When you see G service account, that means it's Google service account. It's managed by Google. And this one also. When you see your other service account, it's going to have like, look at this one. This one is developer, dot, service account. That is user managed. You understand what I'm saying? But the one that's going to be Google is going to have cloud services. Does that make any sense? So instead of a developer here, you're going to have cloud services. This is app support or app spot, the Google service account. This is all user service, managed service account. All right. So let's go ahead and quickly create, a service account. I ran this example for you guys in the class, and I'm going to try and do the same thing here. If I do this, I can, let's call this one fellowship. Okay, that will be the display name, and let's call this one fade dash 555. All right, so I'm creating a service account. The name of the service account is going to be fade 555. The display name is going to be fellowship. Pretty straightforward. And usually if you do that, if I go ahead and refresh, my panel here at the top, it should reveal that I have a new service account that you will show there. You can see Fate 555. There you go. Service account I just created. So again, it's relatively straightforward. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grant roles to the service account. And I'll show you an example of how we would do that. Here is something here. I'm going to go back here and just kind of do some cleanup or house clean here, as you would call it. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'll load up my notepad here, and I will bring it up here so you can see what I'm doing. The instruction I gave you guys in the class shows you this, but I'm going to put this on a single line so you could see how I'm going to clean this up. And again, we're calling a variable environment, so I don't have to do anything here. And I called my own user account here, fate dash, see, 777 or 555? 555, right? You see that? So, remember what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to grant role to a service account. That's really essentially what I'm trying to do, And this is fate over here, and then I'm granting this fate a role of an editor. You see that? You got it? So then, I'm going to come over here, and I'm just simply going to come over here and copy it. Put this over here. Copy it out. And, from here, you can type this, and that's it. This service account now have additional privilege of being an editor. It is very, very important for you to understand there are 3 types of roles. All right, there are 3 types of roles in Google Cloud environment, and I have them printed out on the screen here. So the number 1 role generally that you have over here is the primitive roles. You see that it's owner, editor, view roles. It's 3. It's pretty broad. The predefined roles are much more granular and a little more specific to a particular service. You will find a lot of the time this very useful, and this is mostly for advanced user if you want to customize something to meet a particular need that your predefined roles does not really fit. All right, so I've shown you guys how to use command line to create a service account. Let's now go over here to my IAM here and use GUI to create a service account. I can minimize this if I want to. So I can say create service account, right? And on this side, I can actually say, call this one, I can say fate. Alright, BigQuery fate. Alright, then I can add roles for this particular individual. So the first thing is I create the account. Create it. Then I'm going to go ahead and add roles to it. And on this one, I'm going to go to BigQuery. That is the service. And then I'm going to give it a viewer and a user. Alright, the data viewer over here, add another role, BigQuery again, and then call it BigQuery user. Okay, and then go over here, and then I've created, this user, I've given it. So if I may ask you, which one do you think is easier? Remember now, I've created 2 accounts. I created this one, Fate, using command line. But I created this one over here using GUI. So it's just 2 ways of creating the same thing. Right? It's just to let you see what alternative you have. So the next thing we're going to do over here is I'm going to create a VM, and I'm going to give one of these 2 accounts ability to run that VM. Okay, want to demonstrate the usage of those service account. So I'm going to go over here and go to my compute engine VM instance, and I'm going to create an instance. Okay, and we can call this one, let's call it a BigQuery, let's call this one church. Alright, we'll call this BigQuery church, and then I'm going to go to center, put it in Iowa, Iowa Central 1. Can you hear me? So I'm going to go back again, start recording. So what I'm doing over here is, so I've created a VM, region central, US Central 1. You don't have to do that, just what I decide to do. And I'm going to use Debian, the default, system that you have, right? But I'm going to give a particular service account ability to use that. Now I can use either of the two. I can use Fate, I can use BigQuery Fate. Doesn't really matter whatever I use out of the two. It's totally, it's totally up to me. It's just a matter of name. And I can go to give BigQuery Fate now this ability to use account. And that's, you can see now that I'm starting a VM and I'm designating a service account to start this VM. And that's one of the things that you could do. So I'm going to go ahead and create now, and I'm going to wait for this application to install itself. Alright, so we have this one right now. I'm going to start my machine here, and this is going to start working. And the first thing I'm going to do once I start my machine is I'm going to run an update to make sure that the VM has all the appropriate library. So it's going to update itself, and then after that I'm going to go ahead and install Python on it. And after this, I'm gonna go ahead and install, Google Cloud BigQuery. And now, got my BigQuery here, and the final thing I'm going to install is Pandas. So then I'm going to now just simply create a Python script by just echoing this, and I'm going to run this one up here so you can see that. I'm just going to run this into, and you can see essentially I'm calling, it's just echoed. What you're just simply doing over here is simply just importing this module, compute engine, and then BigQuery. And of course, you have a field for credential that you define over here. And of course, we're going to fill this field. And this is a good, this is just a query, database query itself. This is just a query that we are essentially running. And this last line is just to print it. Otherwise, we're really not doing anything per se here. We're selecting, call the query, whatever the query that is, we're selecting the year and counting that as the number of babies, and then pulling from this public library where the year is, of course, greater than 2000, and then we're grouping it by year, and then we're defining what the client is, and then we print it out. So you can view the content of this file that we just created here by just looking at this, and you can easily see that relatively easy here. So the next thing I'm going to do here is to then update the content of my project, because right now what I have there is not my actual file name. And what this command is doing is to replace whatever I put over here as my project ID with my current project ID. Remember what we did earlier on over was like, gcloud config, that will get the value of the project, which should replace my project ID. It's a variable. That's really what we're doing over here. And we're saying whatever it is, do that in this file. If I press enter here, and now if I look at my query file here, you see that some values here have kind of changed. It's changed this thing now to my project ID. So I'm going to run the same file again now. Run the same file again now, and you would see what it's going to do here. So then the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and take care of the service account that I want to use. And I will use this one. And if you look at it, very similar to the previous command as well. I'm region set. This is what I have in my file over here. And I'm actually running this gcloud config get, value of the project, for the service account. We're going to look at what is using here, and using BigQuery gcloud. But this is not my command. Remember, this is not my account. You understand what I'm saying? Technically, what I should have actually done was not enter this account, not enter this command the way I entered it over here. What I should have done here was to have, say, BigQuery -fate. If you remember that. Do you remember that? Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I will go back and restore it back to what it was before, because I actually wanted to see what is in there so that you could see how this gets done. I'm going to use my nano, nano query, and I'm going to go and edit this file. Okay. So this was what was there before. This was what was in the account before. That was the original query that I created. And I'm going to go back and save it because I wanted you to see something. Alright. So now when I ran this command earlier on, let me go back up to clear out the screen. So this command that I ran earlier on here, it's supposed to be fate. Because what I'm saying is, look inside this script and replace this your service account inside this script with my BigQuery account that is inside this place. Remember that if I run this command all by itself, gcloud config project, that will get me the current logon credentials on this system. That's normally what would happen. That was one of the first commands that I ran for you guys, a little earlier. And I can still run it for you so you could see. Let me bring this back up again, because we still have it here. I can show it to you. So if I run this command here, 1 second here. You can see now it's showing me the active person over here. My config, it's listing my project, but more than that, it's also telling me, the name of the project, the configuration, and my cloud shell. If you look at the commander, this command here that you have over here, you are actually doing something here. If you were to run this on a normal day, see, it tells you your active shell and it tells my project ID, right? But if you look at what preceded it, actually said anything that starts with BigQuery -fate, add. You understand? that will query and get any account that has this account over here. And if I run this normally, if I just run this, what does it do? It will go back into my query command, and what has it done? It has replaced this your service account that I had there before with this account, BigQuery -faith, you see, and prepend it. You know, append it with the current project. Because what this is just simply doing is, you know, run BigQuery -add and then attach the name of the current project. And then this is my current project. Just attach it to the domain. And now I have this now. And then let's just go to the next level now, so we can wrap wrap this thing up. Having done that, you know, since I've run this thing the second time and I've done that, then the next thing I have to do here is to just run the query file itself. And if I were to come over here and do this, and I just run this, there you go, bingo. That's it.